And voila, this is the effect that we're gonna create. So our players sliding in the scene, these thunder effects, the camera shaking, all of the good stuff. And this is our animation for main menu. And I turned off the UI because this is not the focus of this tutorial. I just wanted to preview the project or what we're gonna create. So let's start creating it. I'm just gonna switch on to a new project right now. Okay, I'm in a new 3D project, and since it's a new project, we only have the scenes folder where I have the sample scene, which I'm going to rename. So rename it to main menu. This is not important, but since we're doing it for the main menu, what the heck. Anyways, the next thing to do is import these assets. Now, you can download them. Link is in the description below. Just look at the description. You will see a link, click on it, and then proceed to download the assets. So these are the assets that we have, our models, the sound effects, and special effects. So I'm gonna drag and drop them right here. And of course, wait for Unity to import all of these assets. And voila, we're good to go. Now, clear all warnings, don't worry about that. So that is not important, it will not affect our game or what we're gonna create. The first thing that I'm gonna do is go in models and go here in our main menu stage and import this Yingdi or YINGDI. Anyways, import it in the scene and voila, this is going to be our main menu scene. This right here that we see. Now, before I start editing this, I'm going to take the main camera and position it. So the Y-axis is gonna be 25, the Z-axis is gonna be 81, and the Y rotation is gonna be 180. And this is what we see with our main camera. So this right here. Again, select the main camera and the position Y will be 25, the position Z 81, and Y rotation is 180. And this is the rotation. You see, it allows us to rotate the camera. Now, I'm not that satisfied with this field of view that you have here in the camera option. So when you select the main camera, in the inspector panel right here, you have the field of view that you see, like use it to zoom in and zoom out. Currently, it's at 60. This is by default. I want it at 40. So set the number at 40 and voila. You see now we are like in front of some kind of temple and all of the good stuff. So this is how I want the main scene to look like. Now I'm going to take the game object we imported, these 3D models or the 3D model, this stage here. Don't worry. In a moment when we import our characters, I will talk a little bit about 3D models. I'm trying to make this beginner friendly as possible. I'm going to rename this one to main menu stage. And what we need to do is we need to separate, or we need to take here, so these are our dragons. So this object 01, which I'm going to take and rename to dragon statues. So dragon statues. Next thing that we need is this one right here, the ground. So we need to take the ground like this. I'm going to take the ground and put it right here below. And we need to take the dragon statues and put them as a child of the ground. And you will see when you drag and drop it to be a child of the ground, this right here will appear. Break prefab instance. Yes, continue. We're going to break it. The reason for that is because now the statues are children of the ground game object. So if we turn it off, the statues turn off as well. If we move the ground down, the dragon statues move down as well. This is basically what we're doing because we are going to animate this as well. So what is the next step to do? The next step is to add all of our characters in our game, and we're going to start with the angel. So here we have our Badir angel. If I import him, it's this dude right here. Now we don't see him because he is way too small. You see, this is he. And what we need to do, we need to resize him. In order to resize a game object, you need to take its scale and pump it up. So the scale is going to be 10 for X, Y, and Z, and now we are able to see him more clearly, and this is our game object, our angel. I am going to select it here and rename him to angel in the hierarchy, and I'm going to position him so where he is going to stand in our scene. The X position is going to be 24, the Y position will be 15, and the Z position is going to be 11. Now we are also going to rotate our angel, so I'm going to say -30 for the rotation, and this is how we are going to position our angel when he slides down. This is going to be his position. Now we will see in a second when we start animating him, but if we go here in our game, this is how that looks like. So the next game object is our Hoodier Dark Sorcerer. So drag and drop him right here. Now one thing that you will notice is this is our Dark Sorcerer, this white thing here. Now we do need to resize him. So first of all, I'm going to rename him to Dark Sorcerer and set the scale 6 for all 3 axes. And I'm not going to say 6, 6, and another time that number, because then you will think I'm in some kind of cult that I'm trying to seduce you here. No, that's not the case, but this is the size we need to put for this game object. Now he is all white. You see here, he's like, you know, he's a white thing. How do we fix this? Well, what we need to do is select the game object, click on the drop down list, and we have this object 007. Now please don't mistake this with James Bond. This is not James Bond, this is our game object, but it's 007. If we turn it off here, you see we don't see the main game object. What we need to do is go in these materials right here. This is our Hoodier material, or our Dark Sorcerer. I can rename it to Dark Sorcerer material. And we need to select here the texture. You see here in the inspector panel on the right side, we can select a texture. If I click here, the select, you see, we can now filter here for the textures that we have. Now we do have a lot, so we're gonna filter for our Hoodier and select it. So it looks like this now, if you take a look at in my bottom right corner. Using materials and textures is how you make a game object have color, as you see right here. So now he has color because this was already attached on him. If I remove, so let's see here if I reset it actually, you see now, we don't see him, he's white. We need to add or pass here a texture so that it will represent the game object. So again, the texture is Hoodier, and voila, this is our game object. Now, of course, here you can play with these shaders. These shaders determine how this material will render this game object. And by the way, in order to create a new material, you can right-click in our project folder or assets and go create and material. This is how you create a new material. Now, this is as far as I can tell you because I don't want to go off topic. Materials and 3D objects are a little bit different. I mean, another topic than what we're going to do in this video. But as I said, I'm trying to do things beginner-friendly as possible as I can. Anyways, this is the material that you simply need to attach on this game object right here. The angel already had it attached, as you can see here. So it already had it attached. That's why it already had color and everything. So take the Dark Sorcerer. The X position is going to be 1.3, the Y is going to be 15, and the Z is going to be 11. And yeah, the scale we already covered. And this is how he is going to stand in our scene. Of course, we are not, I'm saying of course like you already knew that, but we are not going to rotate our Hoodier. He's going to stand like this. As you can see, this is, he is looking right in the camera from the middle. So let's add our third character, which is our Lei. And we're going to take this one, not the one who has the wings, so not this one, we have 2. So we're only going to take this one here, skin 1, and attach it or actually drag it here in the scene. I'm going to rename him to Lei and resize or set the scale to 6 for all 3 numbers, X, Y, and Z. And for our Lei, we are going to position him at -20 for our X. For the Y, it's going to be 16. And for the Z, it's going to be 11. And we are going to rotate him at 30 degrees. So voila, these are our game objects. So this is what we have now with our game objects. Now, one thing that we need to do in regards to these game objects, I know we need to set things up before we can start to code, but be patient. You will see the process. How can we create that cool cutscene? Anyways, you see now all three of these have an animator component attached on it. Now if we go in our lay and we see his animations, you see here we have the idle. If I preview it, I have selected the idle animation. If I preview it, this is his idle animation. Now in order to play this animation, we need to have a controller, as you see right here. Now we do have one, but I'm going to use a new one because this one already has animations. Anyways, just ignore this. We're going to rename it to old, and I'm going to right click here and go under create, and I'm going to create an animator controller. And I am going to rename it to lay controller. And what we need to do is we need to, let me just go here, quit this and take my highlight tool. What we need to do is take this lay controller and we need to attach it, and let me just hide it and select lay. So we need to take this controller and attach it right here inside of this animator component so that we can control it via code. So drag and drop the lay controller here, but if I go here, we don't have any animations. That will change pretty soon. So the first animation that we're gonna create is gonna be the idle animation. And by the way, this is in the animator tab. If you don't have it, you're gonna go under window and then animation here, and then you are going to click on animator. And this is the tab that I'm in currently. So you select the game object for which you want to create these animations, and I'm gonna right click here and create an empty state. So again, here, right click, create state, empty. This one is gonna be idle. So I'm going to rename it to idle. And this is where we are gonna drag and drop the idle animation for our game object. So if I go here and select our lay and go in animations, you see here, lay, zengzi, idle, this is that animation. So if I go here and select this idle animation, click on it, right here inside, I'm gonna just clear this. Right here in the inspector panel, you see the properties. You see this motion right here? This is where you attach those animations. Now, we can either drag and drop them from the project, or we can click on this little circle, which is, let me clear it, this little circle right here to the right side of this motion. So we can click on that circle and we can filter here for the animation. So we can select here our lay idle. And I can preview it now. So if I select lay and now go into the animation tab, if you don't have it, it's here on the window and then animation tab. By the way, I have a complete video dedicated to animations. I will put the link in the description below if you want to watch it. And here I'm going to click play to display that. Now you see how lay is being animated. So pay attention. Let me just find him here in the scene. And here is our lay. He is being animated. You see he's like breathing and stuff. And this is the animation. So you see right here, our lay game object. Now, I am going to change here. You see this idle animation? I'm not going to put here the lay's idle. I'm going to put the angel's idle. So put the angel's idle animation because I find it a little bit prettier. It's the same animation, it's idle, but you see now I want him to be like this, you see? He's all pumped up, he's looking like me, you want to kill me, so on and so forth. This is what I want. So the next thing that we need to do is go here in models, and for our hoodier, you see we have the idle. So I'm going to right click here in the animations and create a new animator controller. This is going to be our dark sorcerer controller. And of course, I am going to select the dark sorcerer, drag and drop the controller here, go into the animation tab or animator tab, excuse me, create an empty state, which I am going to rename to idle, and attach here our hoodier idle. So hoodier, or however that is pronounced, idle. This one is going to be attached here. And lastly, for our angel, so I'm going to go here in the project, models, angel, animations, not this controller, but a new one. So I'm going to call this one old. Right click here and create a new animation or animator controller, angel controller. And of course, select the angel, drag and drop that controller there, and go here in animator tab, right click, and a new empty state. So here we're going to call it idle, and go here and we are going to select the angel idle. So they all have animations. If I hit the play button now to play the game, you see they're playing their idle animations, all three of them. Now, one thing that you will notice is that we want to slide them in. We don't want them to be there playing the idle animation. So in order to do that now, because these animations are built in, so idle has come with the 3D model. So when I got these 3D models, I got these animations with them. So they came with the model. They are created in a 3D software, so on and so forth. That's another topic. But if we want to create our own animations, what we need to do, for example, for our angel, I'm going to select him and go into the animation tab. So not the animator, but the animation. They're both located under window and then animation, and here is one and here is another. So what I'm gonna do now is here in animations and take this highlight tool. So in this tab, click here where it says Badir Angel Idle. It will create, or it will show a drop-down list. And on that drop-down list, you can click on this create new clip. And this one is going to be called slide in. Very important that you name it like this. Capital S, slide, capital I, in, no space between them. So no space between them. Slide in, and I'm going to save it here in our Angel Animations folder and hit save. So how can I animate him to slide in? First of all, memorize, but there is a better way. You see here these positions. So position right here, all of this. I'm gonna click on the gear icon. So you see here right on the transform property, you have this gear icon right here that I just highlighted. So click on that gear icon and click on copy component. Because now we are going to position our angel at a position where we are not gonna see him. So select the angel, the X is gonna be 0, Y is gonna be 65, and Z is going to be negative 140. So our angel is over there. You see, you can see him behind here. If I zoom in, here he is. So we want him to slide in. Now, in order to do that, select the new sliding animation here in the animation tab. Click on this red button to record that animation. So click here. And notice here these samples. These are frames per second, or how many frames per second do we have in this animation? Well, we have currently 60. And this right here where I highlighted, so this right here, now when I'm pointing, this right here, is on which frame currently we are at. Currently we're at the 0th frame. Now we are at the 22nd, but I'm going to type here 60 so that we go on frame 60. And now I'm going to click on the gear icon again. And remember, we click on copy component, but now I'm going to click on paste component values, because now it's going to paste these values that we had previously for our angel. So now our animation looks something like this. Voila, this is our animation. You see, he slides in. Now, if we want to preview it, if I hit the play button, that will not happen. You see, because the idle animation, if you pay attention here in the animator, I have selected the angel. You see his idle animation is playing. When you are in the animator tab, the animation that has this orange color or yellow, whichever color it is, don't correct me in the comment section. This one will be the default one, the default animation that will be played. So I'm going to right click on the slide in and click on set as layer default state. So now the slide in is going to be the default state. So if I preview or hit the play button now, again, nothing is happening. Now the reason for that is if I select the angel, and I'm making this on purpose so that I can show you the error and I can show you how to fix that error. You see, when you select the angel, you will notice here on the animator component, it has something called apply root motion. And this apply root motion is this right here. It's a checkbox. It is checked. And if I highlight it, and let me just select the angel, highlight the apply root motion, it will tell you automatically move the object using the root motion from the animations. Basically, this means, you see these animations, this slide in, actually the idle, this animation that came with the angel. Now, they are created in a 3D software and they are connected to the 3D model. So it has bones, it has everything. I don't know about 3D softwares, but when you put things together, you have bones to put together that 3D model. You have this, you have that. Anyways, those animations are connected to all parts of your 3D game object. And this apply root motion will tell the animator to animate those, to use those animations and apply them correctly to that 3D model. But now we're using our custom one, our slide in, so we can uncheck this apply root motion. And if I hit the play button now, you will see that the slide animation will play, and it plays a million times over. The reason for that is we need to go into the animator, and you see the slide in animation right here in the animator. Double click on it. So double click on it, and you will see now in the inspector panel it has loop time. Uncheck that loop time. So when you uncheck it and I hit the play button now, finally the angel comes here and bam, this is that animation, and voila, we have one slide in animation. We need to do the exact same thing for both of these others. So Dark Sorcerer, select him, click here on the clip, create a new one, and I'm going to save this one inside here. So Dark Sorcerer animations, and again, name it to slide in like this. This will be important later on for our code. So capital S, slide, capital I, no space between slide and in. Hit save. Memorize the position, so click on the gear icon, click on copy component, and for our Dark Sorcerer, the X will be 0, Y will be 65, and -40 for the Z. So same starting point. Click on to record the animation and go here on frame 60 and select the gear icon and paste component values, and voila, we're good to go. So what I'm gonna do now is again take here the slide in, right click on it, set as layer default state, double click on it and uncheck the loop. And now we have our lay, which is the last game object. And what we're gonna do here is click on the drop down list, create a new clip. I'm going to save it here in our lay animations folder. Again, slide in, same name, and copy his component from the gear icon. X will be 0, Y will be 65, and Z will be -140. So same exact values for all of our game objects. And let me go here, click on the record button, go on frame 60, and gear icon, paste component values, and voila, we are good to go. Select the animation or animator tab. Slide in will be the default layer state, double click on it, uncheck the loop time, and of course for our lay and Dark Sorcerer, uncheck apply root motion. So if I hit the play button now, they will slide in, and voila, these are their animations. Now I don't want them to slide in this fast, so I'm going to slow down the animation. What we can do is we can go here in the animator tab and select the sliding animation. Just click on it, and right here below the name of the animation, you see, or below the motion, you have the speed. I'm pointing at it currently. 1 means normal speed, 100% of the speed. If I say here 0.5, that means half of the original speed. So if the original speed was 100, half of it is 50. So it will slow it down in half. And we will do the same thing for the Dark Sorcerer. Select his animation, 0.5. And the Angel, select his animation, slide in, and 0.5. If I hit the play button now, you will see how they are sliding in slowly, and voila, these are those animations. So what is the next thing to do? Before we start to code, I'm going to go in our special effects and I'm going to start adding things inside. So first of all, we're going to have our thunder. So I'm going to drag and drop it here, and this thunder, I'm going to rename it to thunder 1, duplicate it 2 times, Command D or Control D to duplicate it. This one is going to be thunder 2, and the last one is going to be thunder 3. First of all, let me position them. So the first one is going to be at 23 for the X, 11.8 for the Y, and 15 for the Z. This is where our first thunder is going to be. Our second thunder is going to be 1.5 for X, 11.8 for Y, and 15 for Z. And our third thunder is going to be -20, X for the Y, 11.8, and Z, it's going to be 15. So Z and Y are 11.8 and 15 for all 3 of them, but X for 1 is 23, for 2 is 1.5, and for 3 it's -20. So now let me quickly preview just one of these. So we have the thunder, and voila, this is our preview. So if I restart it, bam, you see, this is the thunder effect. I'm not gonna go inside of particle effects to talk about that. You can explore these to see how they are made, so you can explore them. But that's a separate topic on its own, so I'm just gonna leave them there, and that's enough for us to know. Now, the next thing that we need to add is gonna be the effects where our characters are going to stand. And they are right here. Character stand place. So this one right here, character stand. It's thunder area, but I'm going to select it here, and I'm going to call it character stand 1. Duplicate it 2 times because we have 3 characters, 2 and 3. But they are going to be right here under our main menu stage and under our ground. So drag all 3 of these under the ground, and voila, this is where they need to be. Now the position for these, so the first one is going to be at 21 for the X, negative 14 for the Y, and 11.8 for the Z. This is character stand 1. Character stand 2 will be 0x, negative 10 for the Y, and 11.8 for the Z. And the last one for the X, so here for the X, I'm going to say negative 21, negative 6 for Y, and 11.8 for Z. So third one, negative 21, negative 6, negative 11.8, or actually 11.8 positive for Z. You can pause the video and copy it so you can see clearly here which numbers they are. For 2, it's 0, X, negative 10Y, 11.8Z. So 11.8Z is all for 3 of them. And here we have 21, negative 14 for our character stand 1. Now, if I preview it, so if I select the character stand 1 and click on the ring, you see this is the preview of it right here. Now, we do have this that we need to turn off. You see this ring here. So this ball, turn it off, deactivate it, and do the same thing for our others. So turn it off, and for this one as well, we are going to turn it off. Now, I am going to do one more thing, and that is select the ring here and start size, I'm going to say 50. And for the flash here, start size, and it's here in the particle system, let's say here 40. Badak, I don't know, let's say 40 as well. Core, I don't know, let's say 40 as well. So here we have the ring starting size 50. Actually, it needs to be a little lower. 40. So it's going to be 40 for all of them. 40 here as well. Select all 3 of these and start size going to be 40. Ring, flash, badak, and core start size 40 because I want them to be a little bit larger as they are currently. So voila. These are the character standpoints. Now we also have our Dragon Balls. Now this is not Dragon Ball Z, don't worry about it. You see Dragon Mouth FX. We're gonna go here and we have this dagger buff. So drag it here, and this one is gonna be our Dragon Ball left. And drag and drop it here where our statues are. So this one is the left one. So the left one is going to be at position 0.081 for X. For Y, it's going to be negative 0.08. And for Z, it's going to be 0.04. Voila. I'm just going to duplicate it and rename it to right. So right. And let me just copy the component. So copy component. Paste values, and for our X it's simply going to be negative. So now they will be at the correct place for both of these. Now I'm also going to change the starting size for our elements right here for our Dragon Balls, because if I preview it now, you see we don't see them clearly. You see it's not visible. We see them, but I want them larger. So I'm going to click them. This ray is going to be at 20 for the starting size. This one can be, I don't know, 15 maybe. This one as well, so 15. Let's go here, Dion. This one can be 15 and 15. Same for the second one, so 15 and 15. And the star can be, I don't know, 10 and 10. So if I go now, you see how we see them clearly. And by the way, I'm going to delete the right one. So first of all, duplicate the name and delete it. And now duplicate the left one and rename it to right. And now I'm going to copy and paste the component, because I don't want to go again and resize everything in our particle system. So negative 0.081. And now you can preview both of them. So you see they both look pretty cool. Again, as I said, particles are a different subject. If you want me to cover particles, leave a comment below and I will create a separate video for that. The last thing is to take our background effect and put it here. And now we can finally start coding. So 0 for the X, for the Y is going to be 46, and for our Z it's going to be negative 73 for the position. And this is our background. I already prepared it, so you see it now. If I hit the play button, you will see what is going on. So you see all of these cool things. Voila. Voila, this is what is happening. So finally we can start to code because, well, I'm pretty sure you got tired of all of this editing. So let's go here, right click in the folder or create a new folder, scripts, and go inside of that folder, right click, and we're going to create a C# script. This one is going to be animations controller. Right click here in our hierarchy, create an empty game object, animations controller, and attach the script on him. Voila. I'm going to reset the transform at 0, 0, 0. This is not important, but I like to do it like that, so don't worry about it. And voila, this is our script. Here I'm going to say class. This is just so I can tag the class and know where the curly bracket for the class ends. And now I'm going to hold enter to give a little bit of space. This is just so I can scroll up and down and you can see what I'm typing. And let me quickly go here, view and pads, and click on solutions so that we can see our scripts, or actually the project, on the left side. And voila. So what do we need with our animations controller? First of all, we need to make him a public static instance, and this is going to be our animations controller instance. And here, instead of update, I'm going to create void make instance. And here I'm going to say if instance, so instance is equal to null, then I'm going to say instance is equal to this. By the way, if after if statement you only have one line of code, you can omit curly brackets. So you can put it like this, but if you only have one line of code that is, you can omit the curly brackets. Now, what is an instance? Again, we are going off topics because I'm using these things, but I will put a video, link will be in the description below, where you can watch the video about Singletons, and it talks about this instance and what it is. So here I'm going to say make instance, and it will be called in the awake function to create an instance. Basically, this will allow us to access all public variables and functions inside of this class. So the next thing that we need are the animators. So we need here public animator array, and these are going to be our hero animators. We also need a public animator for the ground. So ground animator, we will create this later, don't worry about that. And I'm going to type here underscore. We also need a public game object for our thunder effects. So game object array, this one is going to be our thunder fx. We also need here a private audio source, which I'm going to call heroes appear sound. We will cover this as well, don't worry. We also need a public float. This one is going to be our heroes appear time, which is going to be equal to 2f. A public float shake time, which is going to be equal to 0.9f. And we also need a private string slide in animation, which is going to be equal to slide in. Now I think you know where this is going. We're going to play the animation with this, but don't worry about that right now, because what we need to do here is we need to take this or attach all these game objects. So select the animations controller, and here we have our heroes. So drag and drop one by one. So drag and drop Angel, then Dark Sorcerer, then Lay. For our Thunder FX, 3 again, so click here, and for the size you will see that the size here is 0 when you click on it, and simply type here, type 3. And now you can drag and drop 3 game objects. So we have our Thunder 1, Thunder 2, and our Thunder 3 FX. And voila, we are good to go. So the first thing that we are going to do now is create a function below our make instance. So it's going to be enumerator, and this is a coroutine. Basically, a coroutine is a function that allows you to delay the execution. So we can call pieces of code, then we can delay, then we can call the code again. So this one right here is going to be activate animations. And simply here we're going to say yield return new wait for seconds, and we're going to wait heroes appear time. And then what we're going to do is we are going to say for int I, which is equal to 0. As long as I is less than our hero animators dot length I++, so we're going to iterate through this array, and we are going to call here hero animations, an element that's an index I dot play, and we're going to pass here slide in animation. Now this we are going to call in the start, so void start. And we're going to call here activate animations, but this is a coroutine, so we need to call it start coroutine, passing it like this, and voila. This is how you call a coroutine. By the way, this right here will delay this specified time, which is 2 seconds. If you need more info about coroutines, link will be in the description below. So again, here we have hero animations, and here we have it will play all of these animations, and when I call start, it will activate this coroutine, and we can test it out right now. So if I hit the play button, pay attention what's gonna happen. So if I hit the play button, after 2 seconds, they are going to start playing. So let me go here. And by the way, pay attention here. So after 2 seconds, these animations need to start playing, but you saw what happened. They just slided in. Now, the reason for that is if we go in these animations, you see the slide in animation will be the first one that's going to be played. So as soon as we hit the play button in our Unity editor, the animation will start playing. So what we need to do is right click and create an empty state. So this one is going to be empty, and I'm going to call it empty. It's not going to have animations, which means it's not going to play anything. But I'm going to right click on it and set it as a default state, because now this one will be played instead of the slide in. So we need to do this for all 3 of them. So right click here and create an empty, and go here and type it or name it empty. Right click, set as layer default state, and do this one for the angel. So right click, create an empty state, and rename it to empty. Now renaming it to empty is not important. You don't have to do that. But I did it and set it as a default state. So now if I hit the play button, and since we attached the script, pay attention, after 2 seconds, the animation plays. But they stand here, we don't want them like this. What is going on? Well, we need to make them go from slide in to idle animation. And in order to do that, right click on the slide in and click on this make transition. Point on the idle animation and click on it, bam. It will create this white line, white arrow pointing from slide in to idle. Now here in our inspector, we are going to have these settings here. So what I'm going to do is this exit time, I'm going to set it at 1 and transition duration at 6. Basically, exit time means how much time will it take to exit from this animation or from the animation we are going from, which is slide in. How much time will it take to exit from that animation and go to slide in? I'm going to put here 1, which will allow the slide in animation to play completely, and then it will go to the idle. And transition duration means how much seconds will this transition from slide animation to idle last. This is what we're doing. And we need to do this for all 3 of these. So Dark Sorcerer, right click, make transition, click on the white line. Here, set the exit time to 1.6 for the transition duration. And finally, for delay, slide in, right click, go here to idle, exit time 1, transition duration 0.6. So now, if I hit the play button, pay attention what is gonna happen. So now they're gonna play the slide in animation and bam, they're off. What is wrong now? Well, remember that root motion, since we are playing the idle animation, which is attached to the 3D model, we need to activate the root motion again. Now, in order to do that, we need to do the following. We need to go here in our project, in scripts, and right-click a new C# script, character animations, and we need to attach this one on all 3 characters. So Angel, Dark Sorcerer, and Lei, and attach here character animations. And double click on it, open it here. What we need to do in this script, and let me just tag the class quickly so that I can move it up and down, we can see what I'm typing. We need to get here a private animator, and this one is going to be our anim. In our awake, anim is going to be equal to get component, animator component. And instead of update, I'm going to create a function void activate a root motion. And simply here I'm going to say anim set or root motion, apply actually root motion is equal to true. And this is gonna apply the root motion again and the animation will play normally. But in order to do that, we need to select here our Dark Angel, select him, go into the animation tab, select the slide in animation, and right here on the last frame, so right here, the last frame when we finished, so when we finish here, this is the last frame, when we finish the slide in animation, you will click this button right here. You see this one that I'm circling? Right here, it looks like this, it's a line. So you're gonna click on that, and this will create an animation event that we can now select. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right here. You see it? You will be able to see it in your editor if you don't see it in mine. Anyways, when we click on that, you will see here in the inspector panel, you see the title animation event. So right here, and this is a drop-down list that we can click on, and we can select a function that can be executed when that frame is hit. So I'm gonna click on activate root motion, which means when we play this animation and we go to the last frame, it will trigger this activate root motion, which is attached, or it's inside of this character animation script, and it will go in the script and it will execute this code in this function. So we need to do the same thing for Dark Sorcerer as well. So go here and click on the animation event and select here activate root motion, and do the same thing for the Angel. Slide in actually for the Lei. We did it for the Angel. So slide in, voila, and click here to add the animation event and select apply root motion. When it gets to this frame right here, it will call the function that we have selected, which is right here, and it will execute the code inside. If something is not clear, ask in the comments and I will do my best to respond. So now pay attention. After 2 seconds, we will see them sliding in, voila, and now bam, they are playing their animations correctly. But I don't want them to go inside of the floor and then come up. So because of that, go in our assets and right click and create here a new folder, animations. And this one is going to be our floor. This is why, or the ground. This is why I added all of these here. So now I can move the ground up and down. So add component, and this is going to be our animator component. Right click here for animations and create a new animator controller. This one is going to be our ground controller. And now we're going to attach it on the ground like this. And first things first, we're going to create an idle animation. So create here, this one is going to be our idle. So select the animations here, or actually C# animations, here it is. And this one is going to be our idle animation. This one is going to be empty because the empty state, we don't want to play the slide in animation right away. We will see that in a moment. So if I go now again, click on the drop down list, create a new clip, and I'm going to call this one slide in. Again, slide in, same as you saw here. The reason for that is I did not explain it. Is here we're calling it, you see slide in, this is the name. If the name does not match here and in the animation, it will not work. So if you wrote it like this and you're calling it, if you wrote here slide in with a space between slide and in, but you wrote here slide in together without space, this will not work. So the names and the capitalization need to match up. Anyways, this is our slide in animation. I'm going to set the Y position at -70 for our ground. Click on the recording button, go on frame 60, and go on 0 again. Now, the reason why I created this idle and set it to be first is this one. If we created the slide in, we would have something like this. You see? We would have something like this, bam and bam and bam, and well, this is not something that we want. And of course, double click on the slide in, turn off the loop time, and select the idle and set it as a default state, because now, voila, when we run our game, we will not see, as you can see, we will not see the ground. But we need to call it, or otherwise you see our characters will stand like this. Select the animations controller, and we already have here our animator or ground animator. So we need to drag and drop it right here. So drag and drop the ground animator. Go back here in our animations controller, and right here below, we're going to create a public void, and we're going to say play ground slide in. And what we need to do is take the ground animator, call play, pass the slide in animation name, and voila. But in order for this to work, we again need to use our events. So here, right below our activate root motion, we're going to create void appear ground. And now I'm going to call our animations controller dot instance dot ground or play ground slide in. So now I hope that you understand more why we created this instance, because now we can use the instance dot and the function name to access it. We don't need to use GameObject.get component. Again, if you want to watch the video about Singletons, link will be in the description below, and it will make this more clear. So if I go back in Unity now, and I'm going to do it only with Lay, only with one game object. Don't do it on Angel or Dark Sorcerer, only on Lay. Go inside of his slide in animation, and maybe here on frame, I don't know, let's say 15. Yeah, frame 15. He starts to appear, let me actually go here and see. He starts to appear on frame 15. So on frame 15, I'm going to click here to create this event, and select here appear ground function. So now when we play this animation, voila, it will do it like this. Bam, it will go right here. Pay attention now. When we play the animation and it touches this event, it will start the ground, or it will appear the ground. You see, bam. But actually, no. Actually, I'm going to do it when they are here. So on frame 55. On frame 55, this is where I am going to put this. So go here, 55. Drag this, you can click on it and you can drag it. So you can click this animation event, you can move it around left and right. So let's try it now. If I hit the play button, we will see that when they appear, bam, now the ground appears. Voila. Even on frame 50, I think it can do. So frame 50, like this. Let's test it out. Now you can play with this. I'm going to perform one last test. You can play with this, you can move it left and right, up and down. And voila, you see? So the next thing to do is to appear the thunder. So make the thunder appear. And in order to do that, we need to go back in our scripts and animator or animations controller right here below our public play ground slide in. We're also going to create public void activate thunder. And here simply we are going to call for int I, which is equal to 0 as long as I is less than thunderfx.length I++. We're going to filter to the thunder array and get every element and index I, set active, and we're going to say here to true. And here below we will start a coroutine. So start coroutine to shake the camera. So we're going to call it shake camera like this. But we still did not create it. We will do that in a moment. Don't worry. What we need to do now is go back in our animations. And again, inside of the animation event is where we are going to call the thunder. So let's go back and select lay. Only do this with lay. Again, only do it with one game object. So slide in for the lay at the last frame right here where he is basically ending the sliding animation. Click to add another frame. Now they are small to see because they are one over another, but you can see them here. I don't know, you see this blue thing right here. It is a little bit hard to see, but you can see it on your own computer. Anyways, click on the drop down list, and actually I forgot to do that. So character animations, here we need to say void appear thunder, or activate thunder. So you can say here activate thunder with one A. And we need to call our animations controller. So animations controller.instance.activate thunder, which will activate the thunder. So if I go back in Unity, and now we can select here from our functions activate thunder, voila. So let's try that out. So if I hit the play button now, pay attention what's gonna happen. Going here and bam, you see the thunder, but it does not have that effect if we don't use the shake effect. Now in order to do that, I know it's a lot for this video, but hey, I tried to make it beginner friendly as much as I can, and you saw the effect. It's not easy to create it. So we need to go under Window and then Package Manager. And here for packages, we're going to click on All, and we're going to click here Cinemachine. So voila, here is Cinemachine, and we're going to click here Install, and it will install Cinemachine. As you can see, it's importing, compiling scripts, blah, blah, blah. And it will wait a moment or two, or it will need a moment or two to activate everything, and voila, I'm going to close the tab now, we don't need it. What we need to do here, and not here. Now in order to use this Cinemachine, we need to type here above using Cinemachine. Now as you can see, this does not work. I'm not sure how can I rebuild all? Actually, no. I'm still not sure how to do this or how to re-import everything here in our Visual Studio. So what I'm gonna do, actually, let's just wait here and see if this works. So can I come back now? No. Anyways, what I need to do is I'm gonna close it and I'm gonna reopen it again. So now we will have that Cinemachine and it will be able to work. So let's go back. And voila, now we can use the type space or using Cinemachine, as you can see. Now we can start using it with no problems. Now, in order to use the Cinemachine, first of all, select the main camera and copy the component. So click on the gear icon and copy component. And now here we have the Cinemachine. See, files, components, we have the Cinemachine, and we are going to click here, create virtual camera. And automatically this CM VCam1 is our camera that we are going to use to, display everything. So select that camera, click here on the gear icon and click paste component values. Voila. So now we have that camera at Y25, Z81, and Y180. What I'm going to do is, pay attention now, this noise component, you see when you select the camera noise, and then you have basic multi-channel purlin, click on that. And for the profile, click on 6D shake. Now pay attention what's gonna happen. If I go here and click the play button, if I pump up the amplitude, you see, bam, it's gonna shake everything, and the higher the amplitude is, it's gonna shake everything like crazy. So we need to get those. First of all, set them at 0. Amplitude gain and frequency gain, set them at 0. And we need to get them as a reference. So now that we typed here using Cinemachine, I can do something like this. I can say public Cinemachine virtual camera, which I'm going to call Cinemachine camera or cam. We can call it camera. And we're also going to have a private Cinemachine purlin. I'm going to type here. So Cinemachine basic multi-channel purlin, and I'm going to call this one shake FX. Inside of our awake function, I'm going to call Cinemachine, or actually shake effects is going to be equal to, and we're going to get that component from the Cinemachine camera, but we need to type get Cinemachine component, passing here basic or Cinemachine basic multi-channel purlin, and voila, we are good to go. So now we have our camera, or we can start shaking the camera as well. Now, in order to do that, we need to go right here and create an enumerator, which I'm going to call shake camera, like this. And I'm gonna call shakefx.amplitude. So amplitude gain is gonna be equal to 10. Shakefx.frequency gain is gonna be equal to 3. Next, I'm gonna yield return new wait for seconds, and I'm gonna wait the shake time, not shakefx, but shake time. And I'm going to set these back at 0. Basically, they are now set at 0, both. If I go back here in Unity, you see that they both are set at 0. You see amplitude gain 0. Again, basic multi-channel purlin. Why does it not show me? Here it is. Basic channel or basic multi-channel purlin. It's set at 0 for amplitude, 0 for frequency. What this is going to do, it's going to turn them on to 10 and 3. Wait for the shake time, which is 0.9, and then put them back to 0, which will shake a little bit. So if I go back here and uncomment this line of code, go back to Unity, pay attention what will happen. So let me just go here, clear the console, pay attention now what is gonna happen. So now we are sliding in, and when we get to the last frame, nothing happens because I'm stupid. I need to drag and drop the Cinemachine camera. Sorry for that one. Clear. Take this camera and drag and drop it right here. So drag and drop it right here, and now we're good to go because you see we had a null reference exception. Pay attention now, after 2 seconds, we are gonna see the slide in. Now here, bam, you see that little shaking? That was that shake that I just explained. So we had the shake here by setting these values at 10 and 3 respectively, waiting for the shake time, and then applying or putting it back to 0 to end the shake or the ground or earthquake effect, however you want to call it. The last thing that is left for us to do, and then we will wrap this up, is to play the sound effects. So the first effect is going to be our hero appear sound. Select the animations controller and go here and search for audio source. And here it is. I'm going to drag it above the script. Uncheck this play on awake, and here for the clip we can go in our sounds and we can drag and drop this hero appear sound right here in the clip, in the audio clip field. You can also click on this circle here and filter for it, so hero appeared sound, which this is what we need. I'm also going to select our main camera. Actually, should I do it on the main camera? Yeah, we can do it on the main camera. I'm going to click on add component audio source. And here I'm going to drag and drop our main menu BG sound, this one right here. And I'm going to check this loop time so that it loops as well. Now, if I preview this, pay attention now. So you hear the background main menu BG sound. Let me preview it again. But do you hear that like in behind in the background? It's like, you know, a truck is starting. Now for that, select the sound here. So select it, go here, compressed in memory, and set here the quality to 60. Actually, 60. Well, for some reason, it's at 59. That's not all 60. Anyways, 59, hit apply. So now if I preview it, we don't hear that truck sound behind in the background. Anyways, going back here in our Visual Studio, we already have the heroes appear sound. We do need to go here in awake, and we need to say it's equal to get component audio, so audio source like this. And I don't know, here we can create a public void play hero appear sound, and we can call appear sound. Here it is, hero appear sound dot play, and it will play the sound when the heroes appear. Of course, we do need to go here, void hero appear sound, and call our animations controller dot instance dot play hero appear sound. Voila. So go now here and select our lay game object. So select him. In the animation right here when they appear. At frame 15, you see? At frame 15 they start to appear. We can also do it on frame 14. click to add the animation event and select hero appear sound, and voila. Now also select 3 Thunder game objects, Thunder 1, 2, and 3, and filter here for the Thunder sound. So Thunder sound, and voila. So attach the Thunder sound on all 3 of them so that now when they appear, we will also hear that Thunder sound. Let's try it out. If I'm gonna hit play, first of all, I'm going to shut up because we need to hear all these effects. Voila! This is our main menu, and then you can start adding the UI and everything you want. I'm not gonna do that, but this is our main menu. Now I tried to make this beginner friendly as possibly as I can, but you see it takes a little bit. It's not much code. Basically you see 80 lines of code, and here we have like 20, so 100 lines of code, not that much. But we did not cover that much Cinemachine in depth. I will probably put a video, link will be in the description below. Anyways, for every video that I mentioned that I will put link in the description below, if I did not put it, remind me in the comment sections. Anyways, if you want to see something of this in more depth in a separate video, like, I don't know, particle effects, Cinemachine, or I already have that, but something else, if something was not clear, ask in the comments below. Again, let's preview it. So let's preview it one more time. Bam! Here it is. You can download all of these assets and the complete full project. This one, link will be in the description below, and fire here. I will see you guys in another video. Make sure that if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications.